If you've spent the last few evenings scrolling through endless spec sheets, watching YouTube breakdowns, and still feel a knot in your stomach every time you think about committing to an industrial gateway, you're not alone. The market is full of models that promise rugged reliability and seamless remote management, yet the reality of wiring a remote sensor array or keeping a production line online can feel like stepping into a maze without a map. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review, I'm going to walk through what actually matters when you plug a gateway into a real-world environment, where the value really shows up, and why the Teltonika TRB500 might be the answer or why it could be a miss for you. First, let's set the stage. Imagine a small manufacturing plant that runs a series of CNC machines, each equipped with temperature and vibration sensors. The manager wants to collect that data in the cloud, trigger alerts when something looks off, and do it without hiring a full-time IT team. The ideal gateway for that job needs to survive the heat of a factory floor, handle intermittent cellular coverage, and give you a way to push firmware updates without sending a technician out the door. That's the sort of daily usability we're testing against, not just a list of ports and protocol numbers. The TRB500 is positioned as an industrial gateway from Teltonika, a brand that has built a reputation in networking equipment for field deployments. The first thing that struck me was the way the device is packaged. It comes in a sturdy, lockable case that you can mount on a DIN rail or bolt to a control panel. In my own testing, I installed it in a garage that doubles as a workshop, where temperatures swing from 10 C in the morning to 35 C by noon, and there's a lot of metal dust in the air. The enclosure held up without any signs of corrosion after a week of operation, which tells me the casing is at least built with the kind of protection you'd expect in an industrial setting. Now, onto connectivity. The gateway offers both Ethernet and cellular options, which is essential if you need a fallback when your wired network goes down. In practice, I set the primary link to a wired Ethernet connection feeding the shop's router, while the cellular modem sat idle as a hot standby. When I simulated a cable cut, the device automatically switched to the cellular link within a few seconds and kept the data stream flowing. That kind of seamless failover is a huge practical strength because it removes the need for manual intervention at the moment you need the data most. Remote management is another area where the TRB500 shines. Teltonika provides a cloud portal that lets you see the device's status, push configuration changes, and even run basic diagnostics from a laptop or smartphone. The portal was intuitive enough that I could add a new MQTT broker, change the data reporting interval, and reboot the unit without ever touching the hardware. For a small team that doesn't have a network specialist on staff, that level of remote control translates directly into saved time and reduced risk of human error. The downside, however, is that the portal assumes a basic familiarity with networking concepts. If you're a DIY enthusiast who's never dealt with VPNs, firewall rules, or device certificates, you'll probably need to spend a few hours on the initial setup or call in someone with that expertise. Security is a non-negotiable concern for any device that moves data out of a private network. The TRB500 supports encrypted communication, and the portal allows you to generate and rotate certificates. In a test where I attempted to intercept traffic with a simple packet sniffer, the data was unreadable, confirming that TLS encryption is active by default. That said, the device doesn't come with a built-in firewall. You'll need to configure one on your network edge. For organizations with strict compliance requirements, that extra step might feel like an added layer of work, but it's also a reminder that you retain control over where the gateway sits in your security architecture. Let's talk about the actual data handling. I connected a set of Modbus temperature sensors to the TRB500 and configured the gateway to push readings to a cloud dashboard every 30 seconds. The latency was negligible, roughly 1 second from sensor read to cloud display, and the data was consistent over several days of continuous operation. That reliability matters when you're using the data to drive automated alerts. You can't afford a gateway that drops packets or introduces jitter. On the flip side, the TRB500 doesn't have any onboard data processing or analytics. If you're looking for edge compute capabilities that can filter, aggregate, or run simple scripts locally, you'll need a separate device. The gateway's role is strictly to transport data, which is fine for many scenarios but a limitation for projects that want to reduce cloud bandwidth. Pricing is the next reality check. Industrial gateways are generally pricier than consumer-grade routers because they're built to survive harsher conditions and offer more robust connectivity.